leading into episode 100, we just finished talking with Gordon Firemark,
Yeah.
the podcast / entertainment / whatever.
Yeah,
attorney.
I didn't realize when you first booked him, I thought he was just like this podcast attorney guy.
No.
He's a big fucking deal attorney, man.
Yeah, he's had lots of big clients and big cases, and he tells us about one particular case that was a lawsuit that.
Yeah. No, like,
I'll let you listen to the.
I was a little like, okay, 100th episode, we have some fucking lawyer on. This is gonna fucking suck. But it was a great episode. Like it really was to me.
Great conversation. He shit on you quite a bit.
Oh man, he just pissed all over me.
Yeah, so
it was a great episode.
Yeah, I would say that the laughs are not as often as in some of our episodes, but they come and go. And
I feel like a lot of the laughs are just us
interesting.
Obviously like being tired of each other after 2 weeks apart. Yeah.
I did notice though, there are some times that he said stuff and you heard it and I didn't, and you thought it was funny and laughed, so I just laughed so that it sounded like it was funny.
He was a funny dude.
He was.
And like
he took
I said,
his jabs here and there. Yeah.
Oh, dude, he shit all over me for a lot of episodes, which I know you enjoy.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
But that's one thing, you can say what you want about me, but I'm pretty good at taking shit.
Sure.
Like I really am. I don't mind.
Yeah.
But no, he was a great dude. Like I would love to have him back on again in the future.
Yeah. And if you are a podcaster and are interested, he's going to be at the podcast conference in Nashville in a few weeks.
Which actually if that type of thing happens again, we should totally go.
It happens every year.
Well, yeah, but I just meant, whatever.
I got you. I'll see what's going on to see if it's something we could do. But I think that weekend I actually already have plans.
I agree. You know, it'd be fun though if we fucking took a goddamn trip to the UK and did a live one with.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would love to go on the juxtaposition debate. I would like to go on their show because it's live on the radio.
I don't know if they believe that we can control our profanity though.
Okay.
Which I think we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we can. I do it around my family all the time.
Right. I just wonder though, and when we're just talking to each other, if we could, regardless, we're way off fucking topic, but great episode tonight. Yeah. You should definitely check this dude out. Like if you have a podcast, starting a podcast, whatever, he's a lot of great advice.
Yeah. And he Legit Podcast Pro. It's a group on Facebook that he does. And we'll talk about it, but he created the group. It's a great place to get information on podcasting and things.
And he has a book. It's an ebook, but I don't remember what the website was.
I don't remember, but he gives it out. So yeah.
And it was a super easy website too. It was like the podcast law book or some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, highly recommend you check him out. And if you're an A-list celebrity, listen to this. You should, get him as your lawyer. He's a smart dude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
and he was drinking fucking some William Shatner bourbon, which is fucking awesome.
James T. Kirk bourbon. Yeah, I couldn't find it. I wanted to get it, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
It's also like $80 a bottle.
Oh, who fucking cares?
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying, James T. Kirk, really $80?
Yeah.
Man, it's not like it's Obi-Wan Kenobi bourbon.
you and McGregor bourbon.
There you go. I think he would have scotch though, but still.
Dude, if you and McGregor ever made an alcohol, I would buy it to pour it out. It couldn't be good.
Why?
Because
you don't like anything he's ever done.
I don't like many things he's ever done.
Okay. I like you and McGregor though, as a just. See,
I get the vibe that he's a piece of shit. That's my general vibe of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard many interviews with him and long form conversations, and watched his motorcycle docuseries thing. Yeah. And he doesn't. He just seems like just a normal dude that likes having fun.
So you and McGregor, if you ever hear this, come on the podcast so I can determine if you're a fucking cunt or not.
There you go. And John Mayer too.
John Mayer's fucking shit, man. Yeah. All right. Well,
regardless.
Anyway,
here is
Gordon Lightfoot.
Yes. No, it's Manfred Mann. Here is episode 100 with the podcast and entertainment lawyer, Gordon Firemark.
Enjoy. Hey, buddy.
Hey, this is about the longest break we've had between actual recording.
And it's been fucking great.
No, it has.
I was not happy about coming here tonight.
I know, because you got pulled over on the way over.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know. All right.
Thank God I'm a veteran.
Yeah, I know. So
thank the US of A.
Let's get this out of the way because we've got an interesting guest tonight. So CQ, I think we just got back from a trip outside of the country.
I don't know.
Anyway, CQ, Pop Culture Warrior, friend of the show, does his show Tuesday nights on Facebook Live. I believe it's at 7 Eastern. The Two Brothers Podcast with Troy and Trevor. That's Saturday mornings. And then Trevor Jackson Podcast. The Andy Harris on Twitter. Andy is getting married in September.
Oh, shit.
So congrats, Andy. I haven't got an invitation yet.
Yeah, I'm a little offended.
We have t-shirts and stickers, so hit us up and then go to bdriftpodcast.com and click on the little link at the top that says, tell us what you really think.
Just tear us
and leave us an anonymous review.
Yep.
So
Completely anonymous. It legit is anonymous. We've had some beautiful things come in.
so
Not as many as I'd like.
right.
We need to also add on Juxtaposition Boys and what are we doing here? Josh,
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You know,
So
our international friends.
yeah. So tonight, our guest is drinking bourbon. So I picked up a bourbon. I could not find what he is drinking, but we have Larceny, Kentucky State Bourbon.
I've
whiskey.
heard good things actually about.
I don't care for bourbon, so we'll see how I feel about it. But
you want to introduce?
Yeah, we will
first?
introduce. Go ahead and bring him in while I'm pouring this here. Tonight we have Gordon Firemark, and I believe I've seen you call yourself or someone else call you the podcast lawyer.
Yes, indeed.
Correct.
Yeah, that's sort of what I do.
That makes you feel like you just invited him on for free advice.
No.
That's what this feels like to me.
I can give free legal advice.
Oh yeah, your sister's a lawyer.
Right.
That's right.
And you
So,
get what you pay for.
Yeah. So you're drinking James T. Kirk bourbon, correct?
That is correct.
I've never heard of this until yesterday, but I couldn't find
beautiful.
I think it was a novelty thing. My wife got it for me for Christmas a couple of years ago or something, and it's been sitting. I'm not much of a drinker, but it's been sitting on the shelf. And
is it any good?
It is. It's actually very smooth. And,
all right. Well,
Gordon, thank you for being on, sir.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers. Smooth.
I just swallowed a glass.
That is not bad.
It's, I don't care for bourbon that much, but I can handle that.
It's really smooth. It's got a bite on the back end, but I dig it. It's also a 92 proof, so it's a small batch. All right, I dig it.
All right, well, good.
I approve. You did good, son. You did real good.
So, episode 100 tonight for us.
It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy. Did you think nearly 2 years ago you'd be doing this?
No,
I didn't. I know.
I planned on quitting after like 3 months.
Really? I didn't think you'd make it 3 months.
I thought it'd be 3. I'm good for a quarter.
So a quarter.
No, he didn't fire you.
Yeah. So podcast lawyer.
Yeah.
Where do you go to school where you can major in podcast law?
Well, when I went to school, there was no such thing as podcasting.
Oh, yeah.
But my undergrad degree is in radio, TV, and film production. And
okay.
I worked in the television field here in Los Angeles for about a year before I decided to go to law school, and went to Southwestern Law School here in LA, which has a strong program in the entertainment law field. And that's really what I've been doing for 30 years is entertainment law, representing clients in the film and television industries, as well as live theater. And when podcasting came along as a thing, I adopted it mainly as a marketing tool for myself and my practice. I have a show called Entertainment Law Update that we started in 2009, early 2009. So 12 years of podcasting. And we, in the course of doing that, I started thinking about what are the legal aspects of this that need attention and that most podcasters don't know. Most of them don't come out of school with a degree in television and film production. So I started thinking about it and realizing there was a need. And here I am. I wrote a book called The Podcast Blog and New Media Producers Legal Survival Guide, and that sort of positions me as the expert in this space.
Nice.
When all else fails, write a book.
Right.
I need to try that. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. He said, 2009 is 12 years. And I still for me, I think 2009, I was like, oh, it's just a few years ago.
Yeah.
And then, I realized all these fucking albums and shit that I love are turning a decade old and 15 years old and 20 years old.
I watched the Friends reunion the other night and thought the reunion was pretty good.
Oh my God.
But I thought, wow, it has been 17 years since the last episode ran.
Yeah.
It's insane. So yeah, it is. So, you also run, do you run the Facebook group, or are you just just a moderator on there or admin, or is that your group?
You're talking about Legit Podcast Pro?
Yes.
Yeah, I created that group as a place for folks who are serious about podcasting, who want to go from hobbyist to professional. And we're in there talking about what that means.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is funny. This is the most unprepared I've ever seen you for a show.
What do you mean unprepared?
It's, as far as you usually have your stuff all lined up, and you're
I got you. Yeah, I traveled for work this week, so I don't all of my stuff I took with me, and I just don't even. I haven't dug it out yet.
I got you.
But anyway,
It's only the 100th show, something to celebrate. By the way, I'm honored for you guys having me on for the 100th episode.
Oh yeah,
no, thank you, thank you
yeah,
for being on.
yeah. When you replied to one of my comments in that group, and like, yeah, I'm not sure. You said something along the lines of, I'm not sure how interesting I am, but I think I'm kind of funny, and I'd come on and talk. And I thought, oh shit, okay,
That's actually exactly how Joey describes himself. I'm not very funny or entertaining, but we're here.
Right. That's pretty much it. Yes. It's when people say, "What do you do?" I say, "I'm a podcaster." I don't say anything else, and they say, "Oh yeah, it's not very funny."
So actually, no, you're not. You're the cute one though, and I'm the funny one.
That's what they say.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, man. We're just all over the place. But
I knew what to expect coming in. That's what I was told. Is they're all over the place.
Yeah.
You were told that by listening, or by me, or by
mainly you, Joey.
Okay, I was gonna say, or did someone say, well, I would just be interested if you were talking to someone else that has listened to us to be able to tell you that. I'll be blown away. We could stop right now at episode 100.
Well, I don't know your listener, so
right.
Yeah, there you go.
His name's Troy, and he lives in Nashville.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Nashville in a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to the Podcast Movement Conference in Nashville. Are you guys going to be there?
I didn't know anything about it.
I did know something about it, and I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to.
As the one person on this show that actually does any work, then I would expect you to let me know about things like this.
Well, I knew you wouldn't go, and I knew I probably wasn't going to be able to go. So why?
Yeah. So I do have a question, since you've been in this for a while and are the just like you said, the subject matter expert. What is one big mistake that you see a lot of new podcasters coming out of the gate with, or that I'm sure there's got to be some common threads?
Yeah, well, I mean, the big one, the one with all the questions coming up is, how do I use this piece of music that I love, or how do I play music on my podcast? And copyright law. The people who wrote the song, the people who recorded the song, the people who own the record company that recorded the song, they like to get paid when their stuff gets used. And podcasters generally don't have the budget and don't want to pay. So we
don't want a license. Yeah, we have a buddy of ours. He's an independent musician, and he was like, and he does all of his own stuff. And he was like, yeah, man, would love for you to throw my new song at the end of the show. And we're like, okay, we did. And that immediately got flagged for copyright through CD Baby. All that shit got pulled down, and didn't matter. There's nothing we could do about it, even with his permission. But
the artists don't even realize what they've signed away sometimes. And so
exactly,
that's an issue. And the other one is a mistake I know you guys have made, and that's having a guest on the show without having them agree to be recorded and use the thing. My big crusade is that every podcaster should be using a guest release form of some sort, somewhere in the mix, to say, yes, I consent to be recorded. Yes, you can use it in any medium forever and ever. And no, I don't expect to get paid or have any editorial control over the content of those kinds of things. So you hereby have my consent.
Yeah. We had one. My sister is
we had two,
practices contract law and
corporate contract law.
Sure. But
I designate that because there's a difference.
There is a difference, yes. But she did one up for us and just said, just have them sign this and you're good. And we had some people sign it, but we also had a guy just kick it back and say, look, I'm not signing this. I'm telling you I'll be on your show. And he's in the entertainment industry. And he said, I'm telling you I'll be on your show.
He had his lawyer look at it first.
Oh, I thought he said, I don't want to have my lawyer look at it.
No. He had his lawyer look at it. And I said, I read over when we got, I was like, this is fucking overkill for what we're wanting. And him being under contract with History Channel. Or whatever, one of the sub-series, he was like, yeah, I'm not signing that. And he was like, how about I just come on and we deal with any fallout that comes out? He goes, because I don't give a shit about the money. I was like, that's okay, fair enough. But but he could.
We're not making any money either. So
and the risk is only that. Well, I shouldn't say only, but one of the risks is that you have to take the episode down, and that's all well and good if you're okay with that. But if you've got sponsors that have paid for that episode to be up, then you're going to have to do a make good or something like that to make up for it. And so, you want to try to avoid the hassles if you can. But there are some people who object to the releases, and we have to take those, on case by case basis.
Yeah. See, my thing is, and I've tried to, it's not a contract, I know it covers, but for some folks is just because we've had a couple issues in the past with people that came on and, they end up having some drinks or they end up running their mouth too much and they want things pulled after the fact. And so now at least because my whole thing for a release was just wanting, hey, you realize that we don't edit, so whatever is out there is out there. We don't have any obligation to pull things out to make you look good,
Right.
or whatever else the case may be. Like, you're responsible for what you say. And so that was kind of the initial basis. And then, like you said, your sister was like, yeah, I don't like that one. And then so she was trying to cover our asses. It wasn't.
She was, yeah. Yeah. She had all of the verbiage in perpetuity throughout the universe,
Only
as
the
long as
universe, not all planes of existence, whether now known or hereafter discovered.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll see if I can find a copy of it.
And it, I mean, it was rock solid.
Oh,
don't get me
yeah.
wrong.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
yeah,
No,
yeah. So I was just,
That's
so I at least now I put that in an email and be like, hey, you realize it's this, and this. And so having them reply and be like, yeah. So at least if nothing else, if something comes up, I'll be like, no, see, I wrote this. You said cool. We're good to go. So it's at least something at a baseline.
Sure. I like to build it into the sign up form when they book the time or something like that, where they scroll them through, check the box, and then you're done. And at least you've got, you should have read it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we have that on our on the site now. I put a Calendly app where people can book through there. And anyway, so that's one thing that we're learning as we go is to try to, cover our asses a little bit here and there.
Well, that's the hallmark of professionalism, is trying to get these, tick the boxes, get these things taken care of, so that when the time comes to monetize, when the time comes to grow into the situation where you're joining one of the big networks or platforms or something like that, your ducks are in a row, you're lined up, ready to go, rather than having to go back and fix a bunch of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Because I mean, initially all of our guests were like either friends or local business owners, people that, they were just in here to hang out and, and have fun with us. And as that's expanded, luckily we've been fortunate to have some really cool, guests that don't really care that much, but I mean, we're still exposed down the line. You never know what can come back for. So
yeah, we have to LLC very quickly.
I can Forged in Fire and the History Channel come after our asses.
I know.
Want a cut of that $50? God damn it!
Yeah. So we learned kind of early on, as far like the music thing, that because we used to play a game like similar to Name That Tune with each other, and it was very short amount of music. We had said to each other starting out doing that, it's like, don't know if this is legal, probably isn't. We'll burn that bridge when we get there, kind of thing. And so we would play the game with each other before we really got into having guests. It was basically Name That Tune with the first few seconds of a song. And yeah, I mean, it goes on YouTube, and YouTube immediately flags it and says they can either mute that section, or we can take it down, or we can dispute it or whatever.
Yeah.
I think HBO took something down from us one time. We played a clip from Bill Maher, but it was, I personally thought it fell under fair use, but maybe it doesn't. But we played a clip from Bill Maher, and we were commenting on the things he was saying and what he was talking about, and HBO flagged that one and muted that one for us.
Yeah, that probably was fair use, and maybe you could have fought it, but it's like fighting City Hall with something like YouTube.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Or HBO for that matter.
Right.
Which, whatever. It's fine.
What I mean, in because you said you've been podcasting over 12 years, something like that. I mean, and you're practicing law. So what is what's the biggest thing you've seen a podcaster go through? I mean, obviously people deal with the music thing or copyright use, but what have you actually seen people, maybe people that aren't big or making a lot of money? What is one of the biggest things you've seen them get hit with?
Well, would a $15 million lawsuit count?
Yeah, absolutely.
Small podcaster running a small podcast network of very niche programming. She had a journalism background, so she kind of knew what the rules are for journalism, and she also has the ideas about what journalism is, and about having some continuity of her content. She interviews a guest on her show about it was about motherhood and breastfeeding, and this was a breastfeeding only expert who, this is what you do. There's no reason for formula, that kind of thing. And, this is early on in the life of her show. And a few years later, she has a different expert on who's saying, hey, some moms can't do it. You gotta use good formula and so on. And then she ended up taking on some sponsors that were in the business of baby nutrition, formula, and things like that. That first expert comes back and says, oh, no, take that episode down, or else. And my client comes and says, wait a minute, I'm a journalist. I'm telling both sides of a story. This is a fair and balanced presentation over, a couple of years. And I don't want to take it down. And so she says to this woman, look, I don't want to take it down, but if you will write a post that explains why you've objected to this, I will post it next to the episode so people will get the whole story. This woman says, oh, hell no, files a lawsuit. And, unfortunately, my client wasn't in a position to defend that kind of a lawsuit for the long haul.
Right.
So, she hired, I don't do litigation, so we transferred it over to a litigation file, but that attorney made some motions, and eventually fairly quickly they settled the case. But, a shame she had to pay 2 lawyers and a payment to this other woman.
For something like that. Wow.
Yeah. So, that's almost a worst case scenario. I mean, you get sued for copyright infringement. It's a big deal. You get sued for trademark infringement, adopting somebody's name when they've already got a name of a title of a show, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And, God forbid you say something that hurts somebody's reputation. Defamation is a big issue.
Yeah. Which now for us, damn. Good
news
what
is
have you
expressing
said
your
about Conor
opinion
McGregor?
doesn't count.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I can say whatever I want about Conor McGregor's whiskey. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting to me though, just because I'm waiting. I should say because nobody's really come after us for anything in the 2 years.
No, somebody's asked us to take something down because they were going to get in trouble. And
Well, and the other thing is like, you're a grown person, you're responsible for what you say, in our opinion, but granted that doesn't hold up outside of my opinion on it.
Yeah.
And we had one lady that they were almost lost her job over her coming on. Because like I said, she was one that had way too much to drink, and then somebody she worked with found out, showed it to her boss, and it was one of those situations. And I felt bad because I owed her a favor anyway. So we took it down because we're not complete assholes. But
and having the right to keep it up doesn't mean you have to keep it up. You still have the opportunity to take it down if you want to, if it feels like the right thing to do in the circumstances. But sometimes people are just embarrassed by something they said, but it was important, newsworthy, controversial stuff. You want to.
Right.
Well,
it was, legitimately a great episode. I thought, like, at least entertaining. It would have been fantastic. But and then we had a local, and we've told this story a couple times, but there's a local hockey team here. It's a semi-pro hockey, and we had their goalie on, super cool guy, and we got into the weeds on some stuff, and he was actually pretty on the up and up. Like he mentioned, a little off color, but nothing too bad.
Not really, no.
But then he came back and was like, guys, can you, like, I know you don't edit, but can we take a couple of these things out because it's going to get me in trouble with the league? And we're like, well, he's the best fucking goalie we have, so we're not going to not edit.
He's the current wins record holder in the Southern Professional Hockey League.
So that was more of a selfish thing. Like, we're not going to punish our team for
right. Yeah, that's that kind of stuff is easy.
Well, we have this thing.
As a question. Yeah, you're 100 episodes in.
Yep.
Other than myself, of course, who's been your absolute? What's been the best experience of those 100 episodes?
Oh man, I have a top
best
3.
experience or best guess that we've had so far until tonight. Jay Nielsen.
Yeah, he's top.
Best experience though, that's a tough one. Go ahead.
I don't know, man. I think probably my favorite episodes that we've done are the guys from the UK with Juxtaposition.
Yeah,
we just did one last week. We split into 2 parts. It was 3 continents, 4 countries. So we had 2 guys that are friends of ours from the UK. One's in Scotland, one's in the UK, then us, and then another podcast out of Australia. And we did one big broadcast all at one time.
Yeah.
And it was, I told him it's got to be some kind of record. Like we should get something, some acknowledgement for that. But that was probably just the best time that I've had in a while. It was a really good podcast.
I think we're going to make that a quarterly thing that we do.
Yeah.
So,
nice. That's
which
great.
is it does suck for us because that means we have to get up and be ready to record at 7 a.m.
Day drinking.
So morning. It's not just day drinking; it's morning drinking.
Tomato.
Yeah.
But no, I think I would agree. Like we've had a couple. Like honestly, we've had weirdly enough several of the guys from the show Forged in Fire on the History Channel on, and they've all been fantastic guests. They've all been super cool guys. We had a lead singer from one of our favorite bands out of the 90s. He came on. They were pre-releasing a record and talked to. That was just from nostalgia.
Yeah.
All right. What band? What 90s band are we talking about?
They were actually a Christian ska band, even though they hit the mainstream. They were Five Iron Frenzy was the name of the band. But they played with Less Than Jake and Goldfinger and all those guys back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds like you're pretty cool guests.
Yeah. So we've gotten lucky. It's just come from random emails and me being surprised that people have replied back. The dream is Ryan Reynolds. That's the one dude I would just, oh my God. He's such an attractive man.
You have him on, right?
Yeah, that would be, I'll quit. If it ever comes on, I'll quit life. I won't do anything else.
We have
he's promising.
Yeah.
I am probably.
We have a buddy here in Knoxville that owns a hair product company. He makes all of the products. Hair wax. It's Saints and Sailors. I mean, not Saints. That's the barbershop. He's co-owner. I'm sorry. Anchors Away Hair Company. Oh, nice. He's been on here a couple of times. Really cool guy. But he there's a couple of like stylists in the industry that use his stuff, and Ryan Reynolds stylist is one of them. So we at least know that there's that long way around, 7 degrees of separation there that, I don't know. Well, maybe if I could have Ryan Reynolds on here, I would piss him off so he would leave just to piss you off.
I'd be so mad.
Let me see if I've got his number. No, I don't.
No, man. Yeah, dude, I seriously, like, that might end our friendship. Out of all the things that could end our friendship, that might be one of them.
You get over it about
the craziest thing that's ever happened on your show so far.
The craziest thing. So we did a weight loss challenge a year and a half ago, and I beat him by like half a pound. And so we each wrote out 4 different punishments for the loser. Like, I wrote my own 4, he wrote his own 4 for me or whatever, and he lost. So he draws out a hat and it's full body wax,
head to toe.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we broadcasted live and recorded and videoed. His wife, who's certified, is that the right word? And all that kind of stuff, came in, and we recorded. We mic'd the room, mic'd the room, whatever, and recorded him getting a full body wax. And that may be the craziest thing that's happened.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, which I would say is almost my favorite experience out of everything that's happened.
It was
pretty good.
Oh, it was good.
So anyway, that one actually YouTube took down, said it was a community guidelines violation or something like that, and I fought that one and won. You fought it and won. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, well, because I think they flagged it based on like doing harm or whatever, and I was like, no, there's estheticians on here that do waxing, pulling the mud off, that pull out their stuff, pull skin, like the whole thing. I was like, no, this is no different than beauty product.
It's just somebody yelling and cussing the whole time.
Yeah.
So
it has helped though, us getting flagged, as we put our videos that you have to be signed in as 18 and over to watch them. So that's helped with a few issues too, not just out there. Plus, my grandmother, who's 90 or almost 90 years old, stumbled upon one, and that was
or she was shoved into one.
Yeah, my asshole sister shoved her into it, but that was a good time. I come from a very, very conservative Christian background, like my family, my parents, my grandmother, and all that stuff. So it was an ordeal.
Yeah,
she's not all those words. She just hasn't uttered them in your presence. So.
Right.
Well, my grandfather was he was a retired Marine and all that stuff, and he was also an asshole. But so I don't know.
We had a kid reach out to us. I don't know.
Oh, this is a good question.
16, 17 years old, local kid here,
musician
in Knoxville. Anyway, he does all this rap stuff. He records his own songs or whatever, and he reached out to us and asked if he could come on the show. And I can't remember. He's 15, 16, 17, but a minor regardless, and asked if he could come on the show. And we talked about it and settled on, if you will send us one of the songs you've recorded, we will play it on and give your social media information out. But we just can't have you come on the show. One of your parents would have to come sit in here with you. There's a lot of language on this show. We drink on the show, which you couldn't take part in, and I
refused to do, to stop at doing any of those for
right. And it's just one of those things. So, and we had multiple people, like my wife and my sister, were like, "No, you do not want to get involved in that," and I agree with that. But it was so anyway. I just kind of wonder, in a situation like that, how do you, if you wanted to help a young artist like that, what's the best approach for something like that?
Well, I'd say you did take probably the best, sort of conservative, risk-averse approach to doing it. I guess you could have had him come on and have him and his parent sign that release form, and as you said, have a parent in the room. And it probably would have been fine. He's promoting his music, and they're supporting that probably, so probably would have been okay. But then again, you get into the takedown situation, and when minors enter into contracts, those contracts aren't really very binding.
Right.
So he could have come along later, even if he had signed a release. He could have come along later and said, "Hey, take that episode down. I'm done. I don't want that." And you never, you're right, not to want to be alone in the room with the guy, because then it's a he said, she said about he said about what goes on in the room.
Right.
I mean, I barely like being in a room alone with you. I know that things have happened. So,
Cameras and microphones are on, dudes.
Oh God.
So how long, and you might have mentioned this briefly, but how long have you been in entertainment law in general there? In
30 years.
Do you say 30?
Yeah. 29 years, actually. December will be the end of my 29th year. So
okay. So I just missed that. I probably wasn't paying attention. Actually, I was texting my wife because she logs on and always checks audio video when we go live, because she's supportive of.
That's what I would say
sometimes.
too.
Yeah. Hi, wife.
Amanda, she's been on here.
She has.
Nice.
I mean, other than waxing.
The first time we ever had to edit anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's 1 of 3 times. There hasn't been many.
Right.
Well, we went on a conversation about how my family can be incredibly racist. More not because my grandparents were very like old school Southern, like grew up Depression era South. And then so like I wasn't raised that way that I can think of, but as you get older, you start hearing your parents talking like, oh, that's not okay. That's they don't realize, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's not so much the advert stuff, but more the subtle, like, oh, it's those people, that type of thing. And so we got to talking about that, and my wife was like, man, your mom, and I basically made some direct comments, and I was like, yeah, my dad started listening to this. We should probably cut that out.
So we cut it out just for you to come on here and say that it was said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Dude, he's got all kinds. He doesn't even remember that I have a podcast.
I got you. Yeah.
But no, we got into the weeds though with the family on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how often do you get the DMs on social media asking if you want to promote your podcast on other things? we get that I'd say once a day, every day, probably something like that.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Usually it's poorly written English coming from someone in Bangladesh saying, I promote your podcast to 1 million listeners.
Right.
Go ahead.
He always throws on there, like, will it get us the honeys?
Yeah.
And that's his reply. And they'll say something like, no, but will it get us the honeys?
Yeah.
And they'll start sending pictures of like pots of honey. Like, is this what you want? And he was like, no, I mean, we like honey, but will it get us the honeys? And it's just, it goes on and on and on. And people get very, very upset after a while.
Yeah. I love wasting time of telemarketers and people.
Use the American slang as the code to see if they're for real. And
well, there's also been over the last couple of months a lot more. Every time you post something on Instagram, you get the comment, hey, love it, promote it on whatever Instagram account, which is a new one. And I'm not sure what, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure how they're making money on that, but anyway.
I am of the belief that especially lately, there's no alternative but organic reach. Just reach out to your audience, get them to share it, and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I mean, paid traffic does its thing, but especially lately with the changes in Apple and all that, you're not going to be able to get enough traction with a small amount of money. You should even bother wasting money on it.
Well, the only thing that I should say I did recently is I straight up bought YouTube subscribers for the sole fact of getting our custom URL. That was the only reason, because you have to have 100 subscribers to get a custom URL on YouTube. Otherwise, after you've been on a few months, otherwise it's just that long arbitrary, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck this. We were first starting out. I was like, I'm buying however many it takes. And I mean, they dropped off really, really quickly, but but I still, it was just long enough to get that domain. So I was happy with the results.
All right.
But
little piece of advice is when you're recording a video that's going to be performed on YouTube,
right?
You don't want to talk about you gamed YouTube systems.
I've just gotten to the point now where I just whatever he says.
I'm probably the liability on this.
You could be,
show,
but the fact that we recorded at my house, I'm not sure if that makes any. legally, does that change anything? Am I more
Do you guys have a corporation or an LLC or something like that?
We've talked about throwing together an LLC.
We haven't. Actually, we've
to.
reached to the point where we have to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
There's some other stuff going on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But maybe too late if there's stuff going on. But
no, it's not. It's not. It's just that I need to do that so that it doesn't affect other stuff.
Oh, it's for you.
Sort of.
You selfish asshole.
No, I just need to, yeah.
No, I know.
I know. Now
in Tennessee, it's super easy too.
It's
like $50.
Yeah, and Jessica says she'll file paperwork for us. So.
Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that separates you, the person, from you, the podcast, from each other's liability. And yeah, to answer the question, that's the kind of thing that the risk, the fact that it's at your address isn't really the issue. It's the fact that you, the person, are in it, and you guys are, in the eyes of the law, partners. So you're responsible for what each other do.
Yep. Eyes of the law.
You're my life
and now the eyes of the court.
Yeah.
The eyes of the Lord.
Yeah, really.
Should we go to the court and get them to appoint a conservator for one of you guys and do the
probably should, yeah.
Actually,
I should be appointed his conservator. Yeah.
No, my wife is. What's the term? Fiduciary. My wife's my fiduciary for my VA benefits.
Yeah.
Because unmedicated, I am
a nightmare.
I am incapable of handling finances.
Oh, she's the fiduciary and the beneficiary, huh?
Right? Yeah. Both. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So that's I had something I was going to say, and I just completely sidetracked.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck you.
So the running joke at my house, because all my kids are adults. My daughter still lives here because she's in college, but I always say that if something happens to me, I've got life insurance and blah 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 and all that. My wife's like, yeah, I'll at least pay off all of our debts and whatever, and help the kids with school loans or whatever I need to do. And I said, well, that's funny because you think you're the one that's named my beneficiary. I actually have my daughter named is what I tell her. My daughter's a beneficiary. And she's like, I don't blame, I know you're joking. I'm like, well, we'll see. We'll see when I die.
Yeah. Kill me and find out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So actually one of the questions I did have, because outside of the podcast law, I do an entertainment law, and I get obviously not naming names or anything, but in your career, I'm assuming you've probably represented some A-listers along the way there.
Yeah.
So to my question regarding that, in the age of social media, because I'm assuming a lot of the things that get posted, depending on who it is or what it is, probably goes through some channels of being checked, I guess, for a lot of those. I would imagine the scrutiny on what you can post and put up in certain arenas is probably a little more limited from certain positions. Am I incorrect in assuming that?
Well, the filter is all here in me.
Right.
I don't work at a big law firm. I'm my own boss. So if I screw up, it's on me.
Right.
And my policy has always been, I don't kiss and tell. I don't talk about who my clients are. And I don't, as you heard me describe a story, I didn't tell you what podcast and those kind of things.
Oh, absolutely.
People might know what it was. So that's the, discretion is a better part of valor in these situations. And
go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
No, so, but yeah, you do. And my practice has developed over the time that social media has gone from a baby to a, sort of an adult, and things have really evolved and changed. And of course there's something new every 6 weeks, right? Clubhouse and TikTok and whatever it is, the flavor of the month, what Spotify came out with one of these Clubhouse like audio things. Yeah. And you just have to think before you talk, think before you type.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I was referring to more of like your position as far as seeing the legality of actually like these celebrities posting things. Like I guess I've always been curious because I know some of them, there's a few that obviously shoot from the hip because they're in fucking trouble all the time. But I didn't know if it was standard practice to usually have somebody set up I know they have teams, right, that handle a lot of stuff. And I didn't know if that's something that ever got reviewed before it went out or if that's something that got dealt with sometimes after the fact. Like, I'm just wondering how common that is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of, as you said, some of them shoot from the hip, and a lot of politicians in that arena as well. I think most celebrities have their PR people actually doing their social media for them. Right. And so they may still have an account and be able to see what's going on, but most of the posting is coming from the PR people their publicists. And then it's when they shoot from the hip and chime in on something or pop off they're drinking or whatever that they end up having trouble. There's a handful of them who, they're courting controversy on purpose because it keeps them in the spotlight.
Sure.
Absolutely. And I've always wondered how calculated I mean, I know some of them are very calculated, but because there has to be for certain things before they get spit out. Like, okay, we know this is going to bring some attention. It's going to cause some controversy. If there's ever what is the legality of this before we spit this out? Or if their teams are usually pretty versed in those type of things before they happen. I'm being super vague because I don't know how to word the question I'm wanting to ask.
Yeah, well, I mean, I often will have a conversation with a client if they're getting into a big deal is, hey, let's not get excited and blow our load before the time comes because let's wait till the ink is actually dry on the contract and so they're not revealing something they shouldn't, because a lot of times these contracts have confidentiality provisions in them and that you're not allowed to issue any publicity. And so the more seasoned celebrities kind of know this, and they don't talk about what they're currently working on, and they don't start talking about it until the publicity machine for the movie or whatever is in the works. And then oftentimes they're also getting planted content where the producers of the film will say, hey, will you please tweet this out to your audience?
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
So my only request of you as an obvious new friend of the show, and I would never ask you to breach any kind of conduct. Okay. However, if at one point in time in the near future, any news on Demolition Man 2, I would humbly request a personal email.
Demolition Man 2. Okay.
I'm just saying Demolition Man is possibly the greatest piece of 90s cinema that ever happened.
Okay.
It's almost the Waterworld good.
I'll let you have that.
I don't remember the movie. I know. I'm sure I saw it.
Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock.
Oh, right.
Rob Schneider was in it briefly. Well, he was in a good hunk, actually. Him and Stallone actually did a few movies together. Judge Dredd was in that too. It was really weird. Anyway, Demolition Man is my favorite movie of all time. It's so horribly perfect. I love it.
Is there actually talk about a remake or a sequel? Or
there was? I think they made an official announcement that it was in the works either in 2019 or last year. But I looked it up a couple days ago, and there've been a couple rumors still, but nothing. No release dates, no official things. But Stallone's a busy old dude, but he better make it before he dies, because he's gonna have like an aneurysm or something. Because I follow him on Instagram, and he posts his workouts on there sometimes. Jesus Christ, he is so fucking strong still.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like Arnold's just kind of, but he's just kind of stayed, which has got to be difficult because I mean, we're 40 now, and me to try to lose fucking 15 pounds has been the most miserable experience of my life.
Right.
But imagine staying in that good a shape. Like I hurt all the time now.
How much weight have you gained trying to lose it?
I haven't gained any. I've stayed consistently in a 10-pound range.
Oh, okay.
You're trading muscle for fat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, muscle weighs more than fat, so technically I can lose all my muscle and still weigh less.
Yeah. So to go back to copyright and especially music for a moment.
Do we have to? Let's talk more about muscle and fat.
Yeah, well, fine with me. We talk about anything. So I'm just wondering, like, for anyone else, because we have friends of the show that have their own shows, and I know some people that podcast and they'll just play any song. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know if they don't care, if they think they're too small for it to matter or what, but
I think they don't know sometimes, but
it could be. But what, just for reference, what does it cost to license a music catalog or whatever?
Well, that's that's a little like asking how long is a piece of string. It depends on the song you want to license, and that's one of the problems.
But if you wanted to buy whatever, I don't know, throw out a catalog.
The Beatles?
No. Well, maybe catalog's not the same.
Well, I know that some, and I don't know all about it, but I know sometimes you can have some skating rinks will do it. They'll have like a general, like an ASCAP license that they get a pocket of a catalog that they can use.
Yeah.
So there are blanket licenses that cover certain kinds of uses, those public performances in a skating rink, in a coffee house, a restaurant or nightclub, those kinds of things. Also on stages in theaters and those kinds of things. Podcasting is a little different because you're actually combining the audio with other material. You're talking over it or you're whatever. It's not just a public performance. It's what we call a synchronization. And So that ASCAP license covers that public performance of the musical composition, which is the songwriter's work. But there's also a recording.
Mhm.
Now, there is no public performance right for recordings, so there's no such thing as an ASCAP for that. Um,
Right.
but when you get into the digital realm, there is such a thing, and so we have these two copyrights: the composition and the recording, and then we have the way it's being used. There's a live stream, which is like a performance, but there's also a recorded download, and that download of a podcast episode is a copy of the song.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've got these four different things, two of each for the composition and the recording. It's four-stop shopping. It's really challenging to get music licenses for pop music in your podcast. And it's one of the big issues. That's actually what I'll
I
be
guess
in
I was
next
curious
speaking
about that. Like, I know the sync license, if it's considered a mechanical royalty, if you're actually using an entire song in a
Mhm.
podcast, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's
There are
interesting
some
to
who
me.
argue that, but actually, I think the publishers, they want to collect more than the 10 cents that a mechanical royalty
Yeah.
would pay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
For
10 cents per copy, and then you have to get into how many downloads.
Yeah. Well, the recording industry was so slow in jumping on the digital bandwagon. I mean, they were wanting to hold on to physical releases for so long,
Yeah.
and it just got them way behind the curve. I think that's one reason why like the music industry had to go to all 360 deals, and
Yeah.
really ended up like ruining a lot of part of it because they were so resistant to it. Like if they would have jumped on the Napster wagon when it first happened instead of fighting it, I think they would
Mhm.
be in a much better position as a whole.
Yeah.
And we would have still with digital music gone to 360 deals. That was an inevitable thing because it's way more money and control for labels and whatever. But um,
Well, one of the interesting
songwriting for the money, that baby.
Yeah, one of the interesting things though now is that the playing field has never been more level, and you really don't sort of need the record company that used to do all that advertising and
Mhm.
promotion and getting you on the radio and stuff like you can publish your song as your local guy was saying through CD Baby, get it
Right.
into Spotify, get the airplay, get noticed, and then it becomes about the touring and can you get the support for a tour? That's where the artists are making their money nowadays from that
Yep.
live
And
performance
what's
t-shirts.
funny about that is, and I talked to a guy not long ago, this on a personal conversation. I was like, what's the big difference now between because like the mediums are so flooded, right? Like there's
Mhm.
so many options to listen to,
Yeah.
and like I find new artists all the time just through Apple Music stations because they just random
Mhm.
through shit and something will pop up. But I don't have time to dig through stations. I was like, so what's the big difference, between these guys that are really, really talented, but they never break out beyond a local level, and these guys that blow up? And he was like, fucking advertising money, like having the money to, or at least somebody to push them to get their hands in the front of the right people. And I mean, there's obviously some luck in there, but having the time and the business sense to invest into the mediums that are going to get you ahead of the rest of the playing field are the big benefits in that for the most part.
Yeah, but the other side of it is that, if you're going to go the big route with the big advertising money and the big, you got to get that airplane, get it the major exposure, you got to sell an awful lot of records in order to pay for all that. I've
Right.
got I've got friends that I know who are in the music industry who put out an album every single year and they sell, 5, 6, 10,000 copies of their record. It's not a lot
Right.
of copies of a record. I mean, it's nice,
If you're getting all the money though.
but they've got that same 10,000 fans paying them 10, 20, 40, $50 a year
Mhm.
for their music, and then also coming to see them at their shows and buying the t-shirt, all that stuff. They're
Yeah.
making a decent living
Yeah.
and putting out,
Absolutely.
being an artist. So
Yeah.
So I asked about that. I asked that question about the license or whatever, for two reasons. Like I know some small time podcasts that just play music willy nilly, but then like I listen to Bill Burr's podcast, and every Thursday episode there's a break between new and then they have a replay, like a best of at the end for the last
Oh,
hour, and in between there they play a song.
hmm.
And I just can't imagine that he went out and bought licensing, like paid for licensing to do that. Maybe he did, I don't know, but
It wouldn't surprise me if that's planted actually, if someone's actually, if not paying him to put it in there,
could
yeah.
be, yeah, okay.
promoting the song, or maybe he has a relationship with that record label or that publisher and he's able to make those things happen. And he may not be
Okay.
paying cash for it, there
Right.
may be some other quid pro quo. So,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't surprise me if he is.
Yeah.
I don't know how big his show is, but the cost of that
Yeah.
license, depending on the song, is on the order of $100 an episode, a couple $100 an episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he's regularly in the top 10 or 25 of
Yeah.
on Apple Podcasts. So in comedy anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know, whatever. Anyway, that's why I was asking.
Maybe he
about
doesn't
that,
do
'cause
anything. Maybe he doesn't care and he's not licensing, and they're just not bothering him about it. You don't hear about the ones that you don't hear about the ones that are getting away with it and nothing ever happens, and you also don't hear about the ones that just disappear because they got taken down and they're embarrassed and they don't want to talk about it. It's a handful.
So you remember about 8 or I don't know 7, 8, 10 years ago when it was you had all these patent trolls like going. I know there are several podcasts that were sued by these patent trolls, basically saying they bought the patent to, I think it was the podcasting patent or something about the
method for attaching an audio file in an envelope to
something like that. And they sued. I think Chris Hardwick was sued, and Adam Carolla was sued, and a bunch of big ones were sued. And one, I mean, as far as I can remember, 1 or 2 podcasts fought it, and they eventually settled. I think is what it was.
Well, a few podcasters settled with, relatively big numbers, paying them big numbers, and let's get out of this. Apple fought it all the way, and eventually did win cancellation of that patent.
Yeah, nice.
So
interesting.
So I remember. So the Adam Carolla show was one that fought it, and the settlement they had was basically the patent troll just said, quit shitting on us on your podcast and we'll go away. It's basically what they said. Just like leave it like let's just stop here. Let's just cut our losses and stop here.
I'm interested because you keep calling a patent troll, but if they had the patent, is it really trolling to go after that? Is that an actual?
They call it trolling because what it is these people are going out and finding these patents that are up for sale and buying it so they can turn around and sue.
It's legal. Sounds like a business.
It's very legal, but it's shitty to do. It's legal. Yeah. But it's still shitty to do.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
They weren't the ones that developed the technology, and they bought it, knowing what they were planning to do about it. And frankly, they saw something that the previous owner of the patent didn't realize he or she could do. And I forgot what the name of that company was. I don't remember.
My thoughts: if they're going after the big guys, they're not crushing small companies. They're going where the money is. Like I think it's fucking awesome. Actually, I wouldn't call it a troll. I'd call that brilliance. Is what I would call that.
I mean, there's a lot of them that made lots of money doing it, and that is brilliant. I still would call it a patent troll. That's what it is. It's just people going around looking for patents that they can buy that they can then turn around and sue people for it. And that's like people walking around looking. That's like people getting coffee at McDonald's before it says hot on there, spilling themselves and suing. You find your legal loophole.
But see, I like it one though. It's a loophole.
They weren't just suing the big ones though, but the big ones were outspoken about.
Regardless of that, my point is like faking an injury or faking something or even injuring yourself intentionally to get money is on a different playing field than purchasing something that somebody didn't see value in and exploiting that value. And I'm not saying
still exploitation.
There's nothing wrong. Exploitation is a fucking common thing. Like that's not a negative. Exploitation is an amoral. Like it's not a moral term.
Yeah, all I'm saying is it's a completely legal thing for them to do, but it's shitty. Yeah, that's it. It's a shitty thing to do. All right,
but
it's fine.
Well, look, it is a questionably ethical legal strategy, I guess you could say. By the way, I just want to correct the record a little bit about Mrs. Pellman who sued McDonald's over the hot coffee.
Yes.
Because that's a common misconception. People throw it around as an abuse of the legal system. Did you know that the coffee at McDonald's was served at well above boiling temperature?
Yeah, I've read back on it. Like she had a legitimate claim on her shit.
So boiling water is 220 degrees Celsius, right? They were serving the coffee at like 260. And, she puts the coffee between her legs, pulls out of the driveway, has to stop suddenly, splashes it all over her crotch, and suffered some third-degree burns, real injury. Now, was it McDonald's fault? Maybe not. If they had told her, hey, this is hotter than boiling water, would she maybe have done things differently? Probably should have, But the jury said, hey, what gives? Why would you guys serve this coffee so hot? Because we want you to be able to get to your destination and open your coffee and it still be hot. Was the McDonald's answer. They know full well everybody opens that coffee and starts sipping it while they're driving.
Yeah.
So,
the
jury system does get people to raise their eyebrows and say, really? And that's what happened in that case. So.
Yeah,
Whether
well,
you-
that's most, I think, really big high profile shit though, is stuff like that. I mean, it becomes news or media fodder for like late night TV and shit like that, and it all gets, whether the truth is there or not, it's just a conceptual joke,
Sure.
because explain that to somebody that they're like, well, she still put it in her lap, like you.
Yeah.
You never have heard me say that before.
No,
Well, she didn't have a cup holder in the car. Maybe that's what it is. The car manufacturer's liable because they didn't give her a cup holder.
That's
You
true.
know, there isn't
well, she
a
had a
slippery slope to this.
cup holder.
Yeah, there you go.
Obviously, never been to Bangkok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh God. Yeah. Whatever.
You can hold all kinds of things.
Yeah.
If you're brave enough.
I get
You
it.
believe in yourself.
I'm just gonna let you keep going.
That was it. I'm
Oh,
done.
okay.
Yeah.
Be specific. What can you hold?
Oh, geez. So, if you had one piece of advice to give a new podcaster, the number one thing, what would you say?
Boy, that's tough. I think the first bit of advice is find out something that your audience is interested in that you can deliver, and then just deliver it consistently, week after week after week after week, and don't stop because the numbers don't look great or it gets hard, because that's usually right before you're gonna cross over a hurdle that's going to take you into where it starts to feel really smooth, like you're in the zone. Too many people.
We did have that. We didn't quit when the numbers didn't look great, but we're
What's
not
that?
delivering something our audience wants.
You guys are delivering entertainment, right?
No, what's funny is, honestly, the
Both of them.
people that love this show they really, really, really love this show.
I know.
It's usually one of the it's either indifference or loathing or like super into it. And
Yeah.
but the people that love the show, like legitimately
Yeah, I
like
agree
the show.
with you. I agree with you.
And
I love
like
those
I
three
like that.
guys.
Those three guys.
You guys
Well,
talk to them
ironically,
about why they love it. What are they listening for?
We've reached out a lot to things. We've reached out a lot in episodes like, hey, send us an email, send us whatever, Facebook, instant message, whatever. Go on our website to the tell us what you really think thing if you don't want us to know your name in it, because it's completely anonymous, and like let us know, and we just don't get that feedback from them.
We do sometimes.
It's hard.
Honestly, like most of the feedback we've gotten have been from our guests, actually.
Sure.
Like when, for instance, Jay Nielsen was on.
Yeah.
I mean, he told us, he's like, dude, this is the most fun I've ever had on a podcast. He was like, you guys are fucking disgusting, and I absolutely love it. Like, it's been such a good time. And same thing with a couple of guys. They'd be like, well, we were expecting to talk about this the entire time, and we did it maybe part of it, and then we just talked like conversationally the rest of the time we were on, and like we enjoyed not having to talk about the same shit that we always talk about on every time we do an interview. And that's, I feel like, is a strength that we have, is we don't try to stay on just one topic and grill somebody. Like when I have somebody on, like I want to talk to them as whoever they are.
Yeah.
So are you guys holding back tonight? Because I'm not hearing the disgusting that Jay was talking about. So.
No, well, maybe we are. I don't know.
I started getting there with the Bangkok.
It just wasn't funny.
Yeah, you almost got there.
It was funny to me because I was literally pitching some woman holding a boiling fucking cup of coffee in her vagina.
No, I got you.
Right.
No, I got it. I got you painted the picture.
Yeah. I was digging it out a little bit for you just in case.
But
Joey's also the hot warning is tattooed across.
Right. Yeah. It's coffee garage. That's what it says.
In all fairness, though, we're both you're grumpy as shit, especially.
I'm just exhausted. I traveled for work this week, and my flights were delayed. I got home at midnight last night, and I'm just tired. I had to run through the Denver airport because my flight out of my flight out of Sacramento was delayed. Yeah. And as we're making our approach to Denver airport, the flight attendant says, she comes on and she says, I'm going to read out a list of connecting of the flights, that the United flights. And if I read your flight out, you're not going to make it to your flight. So basically what she just said, you're not going to make it. If you run, you may make it. And then she said, everyone else, please, if you're not on one of these flights, stay seated. And let everyone. No, God, no. There were 10 people in their seat when that flight landed. My flight was one of them. I got off and I ran through the Denver airport to get to my flight, and I did make it.
This is the worst moment of this podcast.
Yeah,
This
I
episode.
mean it's right behind Bangkok, but
it's
still,
Bangkok.
yeah.
You guys
So I'm exhausted.
I want to say it was the early 80s, before O.J. Simpson became infamous the way he did. He was in ads for, I think it was one of the airlines.
Run
And
into
he
an
was running
airport, jumping over
hurdles,
suitcases. Yeah.
I heard a crazy theory the other day, conspiracy theory, that it was his, somebody was saying it was his brother that did the murder. Like he was an accomplice, but that's why the gloves didn't fit, because they were actually belonged to his brother. And he led the police on that long chase to take attention away from his brother so he could get the fuck away. It was this crazy
Like
fucking
biological
theory.
brother or just
I don't know.
friend?
I think it's biological.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, gotcha.
But no, I found it really interesting because, again, like all conspiracy theories, you hear parts of it and you're like, huh. Not that I find these talking, because you never know what the fuck's actually happening, but it was fucking cool as shit to listen to.
Yeah. So I used to listen to pretty regularly a podcast called Reasonable Doubt, and I cannot think of the lawyer's name, but had worked on the case and said that they had gotten a phone call from, or they were worked on for the prosecution. Anyway, said they had gotten a phone call during the case from a lady that said that night that happened, she was on her way home in that general area, and she saw OJ walk across the street coming from the direction of his house and looked disheveled or whatever. And she just didn't think anything of it. And it was after the fact she said that. So I just always thought that was, sorry, after the case she called and said that. I just always thought that was kind of interesting thing there. But anyway,
sure.
So.
And the police didn't talk to her the night after when they were investigating, and
I guess not. Yeah. He's the juice, man.
But goddamn Bill Cosby, son of a bitch, beat the system.
He sure did. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I was reading that shit. I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All over that technicality. Did you?
I didn't read it. I heard about it.
It was something along the lines of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he had an attorney that told him long ago if he confessed to some shit that he wouldn't see jail time. And this was like years and years and years and years ago.
It was the prosecutors gave him immunity in exchange for his testimony, and then they went back on their word.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he got the fuck out.
Yeah.
I think he's still got a civil suit against him, what I read, but still, get the fuck out of jail. Shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, we want our prosecutors to be held to their word. We want to, they need to be able to get people to testify in exchange for their immunity. And if nobody trusts them, then that's never going to happen. And they're going to have to do more trials and fewer guilty pleas and those kinds of things. But this one's a high profile, he essentially he did this thing. So
I have seen some of the best memes, though. Some of the best.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like one of the ones I saw the other day said, "Hey, so are you free this weekend?" And it just said me and had a picture of Bill Cosby. I was like, "That's fucking fantastic."
Yeah. Oh god.
Cue the Jello logo on the Jello.
Yeah.
Jello.
Speaking of Bangkok,
I wonder if Jello sales actually plummeted like stock and shit after all that.
I don't know.
Because I know he hadn't really endorsed them in a long fucking time, but still,
that's true.
There's, at least in our generation, some association with like
the
cause. Old Dr. Huxtable.
I bet you Coke is glad they did away with New Coke. Yeah, he was a New Coke spokesman back in the day.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
remember the Fat Albert show? Hey.
Oh yeah,
Fat Albert was
so.
Picture Pages, man.
Okay.
Picture Pages was the shit.
Yeah, but when he was coming out of court, I don't know how many years ago it was. He's coming out of court, walking down, and everybody's taking pictures. And as he comes out, and he goes, "Hey, hey, hey!" What?
What?
Have you not seen the video of Bill Cosby coming out of court?
No.
Court, tell me you've seen this.
I haven't. No.
You're gonna have to Google it. He's coming out of court with his lawyer, paparazzi and reporters and everybody's out there snapping pictures, going, Bill, want a question. And as he walks by, and he's just kind of beat the system at that moment. As he walks by, he just goes, hey, 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 and then just keeps walking.
That's wonderful.
That's a man that knows he's never going to see long-term jail time. Like some man that knows. Oh my God. How long until he goes out? How long until he starts selling tickets for a show?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
And
would you go?
Yes.
Yeah, I would too.
I absolutely would, because he's fucking funny.
Yeah.
But
that goes
I can separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, we've had that conversation plenty of times. It's like I look at somebody's creation as different than the creator. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when people do some horrible shit, that doesn't mean their music or their art or whatever isn't fucking fantastic.
Absolutely.
And some people say, well, you're supporting them as a human, as you're supporting their career. It's like, I don't fucking care. Like I'm selfish enough that I enjoy what they're doing. So the rest doesn't matter to me. Let God be their judge. I'll just be their customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Louis C.K. came back, right? I mean, he make something of him.
Yeah, he didn't quite do what Bill did, but
similar in the scheme of things, category of stuff, but
sure.
probably not.
But in all fairness, if it would have gotten me stage time, I would have watched him jerk off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
If it would get us to the next level, I'd watch Gordon jerk off. I don't give a shit.
That's absolutely. I'll even sign a release.
Release.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw around some NDAs tonight.
How's that?
It's good. It's good, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not a bourbon guy, but this is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad.
What is your drink of choice?
What is Irish whiskey?
Yeah,
of all kinds. If I'm going with something that's not expensive, Tullamore Dew. But if we're going with a little more expensive, aged redbreast whiskey is really good.
Nice. You drink it neat, or do you drink it on the rocks, or what do you do?
Irish whiskey almost exclusively on the rocks. Bourbon, I don't like it, so I'll put it on the rocks so I can get it watered down a little
Bourbon's
bit.
Neat all day for me.
Yeah.
I'm the same Irish. I know that bourbon's wise. I don't know if you're a bourbon guy. I think pound for pound and dollar for dollar, the best bourbon on the market is Belle Meade.
Yeah, it's a
great bourbon, and it's only about $50 a bottle. So
you're going to be in Nashville soon. You should grab some. They're based just out of Nashville. So
is that
actually
right?
there's their distillery there is Nelson's Greenbrier,
right?
And it's well worth going to. It's right off of out of downtown Nashville. Actually, the original distillery there.
I know the organizers of the conference have scheduled for the day before the conference. There's a tour of the Jack Daniel's distillery.
Oh yeah, that's about 30 minutes from where we grew up.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. I used to make the annual pilgrimage.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've never been.
You fucking heretic.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But neither one of us really like Jack Daniels, but still.
No, we really don't.
Tennessee whiskey.
Jack Daniels has got a great brand, and they've done a heck of a job
Oh
promoting.
yeah.
Oh man, they really have.
It's not the best in class by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but it is like the what they've associated with their brand is well, it's like what I've always said about Apple. That's what makes them so fucking brilliant. Is what Steve Jobs to me was amazing at, and it's kind of like what Jack Daniels has done is they took it from being a utilitarian product and married emotion with technology. And that's what Steve Jobs was able to convey. It was like, no, this isn't just something that you're using. This is a part of who you are.
It's not my phone. It's my iPhone.
Right. And that's something that Bill Gates never could accomplish with all the Windows shit. Like it wasn't an extension of your personality. Like you're the whole, I'm a Mac guy came out of that. Like the iPhone is a part of like the aesthetics and all that. And Jack Daniels has done that. Like it's associated.
Yeah.
That roughneck blue collar, like this is who you are. This makes you a better man, and from the heart, all that shit. They've done a really good job. I think that's what good advertising is, though, is just being able to tie emotion to a product. Like if you can marry those two things, then you can do very well. That was a very long diatribe, winding through all kinds.
Why
of
haven't you done
shit.
that with our show yet? Why haven't you tied emotion to it yet?
Because I don't have emotions, so it's very difficult for me.
Well, since we're talking about branding, do you mind if I ask, because I'm just ignorant about this, what does B3F podcast stand for? What is the B3F about?
It's short for Best Fucking Friends Forever.
Okay. Yeah, it started out as BFFF.
Yeah.
Okay.
That didn't roll off the tongue as well as B3F. And it's a stupid name.
Yep.
That he came up with and I loved.
Right. But that's the B3F, it fits in. Like, so we've been friends for fucking what, 24 years we've known each other. So so it fits with the brand, and we've joked a billion times we're the only ones that can tolerate each other. But one thing that we've been careful, I have a little more freedom now, but we kind of have to tiptoe around because we don't talk about where we work because of our jobs. And he works for a giant like international corporation.
Yeah, I work for a huge company.
My company I work for now really doesn't give a shit. I could do fucking cocaine on this show, and as long as I still showed up on Monday to do my job, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But regardless, so that's one thing that we have to be careful of. We don't in how we advertise and how we put things out is because there are some of those like real world potential blowbacks that could occur,
Yeah, we don't advertise on any of our own personal social media
personal
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
which we also, like he said earlier, come from very conservative Christian background. And so I just, I got family members that know I do a podcast and listen to it and support. And then I got family members that I hope they never find out. And I'm 40 years old, and I say I hope family members don't find out, which is sad. But
we all have secrets that, it's just better kept, because otherwise the blowback, the hassle factor of dealing with it. It's not that you're ashamed of anything. It's just, who cares? Why do you want to get into it with mom?
Yeah, well, that was the thing with my grandmother. Like, it was just such a hassle to deal with all that shit. Like, I got a call of, you're going to hell. Anybody that listens to that show is worshiping the devil. You're doing this. I'm like, yep, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's the whole conversation.
I'll see you there.
Yep.
Oh. So how has the vision of your show changed in the 2 years you've been doing it?
More geared toward guests now, I think.
Yeah, we started out with just us, and we've gotten to where we are, in my opinion, like every now and then has to have a break and have just us.
Yeah.
But we've gotten to where we really enjoy talking to people and having that dynamic where it's not just strictly based on a list of questions, and that they've been asked 1,000 times, and actually, talk about shit. Which one of the things we do that we've started doing a little bit more with guests, we always have on the back burner if we run out of conversations, we call it the bag of shit. And it's a literal bag, and we have guests to write down a couple topics usually and throw it in, and then we'll just randomly draw topics out, and it's usually just 1 or 2 words, and it's go, like whatever comes.
Right, whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, but that's like when we had the goalie on. I mean, we got puppet porn pulled out and all kinds of other shit that people were just like, yeah, we can't have that. Can't have, not that we can't, but he couldn't,
Right, he couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
But we started out doing, each episode was roughly an hour, and then so that started in August, and then first of 2020 we started going hour and a half and slowly crept up to 2 hours. We've had some longer, but early 2020 we started having a couple of local business owners on here and there, and realized just how much we enjoyed talking to people, but how easy it was for us to get them off of the topic they wanted to talk about and just have a normal conversation.
We can get almost anyone to talk about dicks. That's really what that boils down to.
And we just enjoyed it. So we would get local people, and then he's reached out to multiple other people and gotten some decent people. I know we got a girl that was a contestant on American Idol coming on in a few weeks. And so I think she may actually come in here and sit down with us. So, So,
okay.
Anyway.
So he asked us a few questions. So I was going to ask you, like, this has all been one-sided. It's been us talking and looking at your pretty face, sexy ass fucking branding microphone you have there. Like, no, I know, like, shit like that. Like, I've been jealous of your fucking little mic sign the entire time we've been on this thing. Yeah, I was like, fuck, man, we need to get some cool shit like that. Oh yeah,
that's nice.
Fuck your years in the entertainment industry.
I'm willing to throw a credit card at an online ordering form. That's not a big deal.
But so, and all your whole life, outside of, obviously, you're dedicated. You've had a practice that you've probably built, I'm assuming, from very small and large, and then you've got your podcasting that obviously has grown a significant amount as well. Like, outside of those two things, what kind of shit do you do? Like, LA, in my experience, the few times I've been there, it's either really amazing in parts or it's just a shithole in other parts. There's not a lot of blend in the two. And people in LA that I've known, and granted, my interaction there has been limited, have either been super into music, sucking dicks to get into movies, or doing heroin. Those are kind of the three general,
I mean, the one guy is in jail now, so they can't suck dicks to get into movies now. So
they can just suck dicks to suck dicks.
Yeah, I haven't done much of that. So
I noticed he said much.
I was gonna so what does an entertainment lawyer / podcast extraordinaire, like, what kind of shit do you do? Like, because LA, to me, the few times I've been there, is such a foreign country, not just from the South, but even from the rest of the United States. It's its
I
own
thought you meant people coming up crossing the border.
Oh, you fucking asshole.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
Given your family history.
So what do I do outside my law practice? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. Like, around LA.
What do you do for fun?
Other than eating a lot of kale and shit. But,
oh man. The hell you say? Um, kale. Actually, I ate kale last night by accident, but not a choice I make willingly. What do I do for fun? It's interesting. I live on the outskirts, northern end of the LA area now. And when we had our kids starting to come, we moved out of town up to here. It's the suburbs. It's in a community called Saugus. You might have heard about us when we had a school shooting about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And a mile down the road from here. But it's a bedroom community outside of LA, and there really isn't much going on here. After the streets roll up at dusk. But the last 15 years or so, I've been focused on parenting, basically, and being a dad and a husband and those kinds of things. I get out with friends, and I like a good cigar and a drink.
That's what I'm talking about here. I love cigars.
Before I got married, I was a member of the Friars Club, which
wow.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually on the board of the Friars Club in Beverly Hills, and we had at the time it was a great facility, and we had all the old comedians hanging out at brunch every Sunday, and we had a table of us the young Turks, we called ourselves, and we would show up for brunch and hang around for 2 or 3 hours and crack jokes, and some of them are stand-up comics, and some are writers. And
have you sued the young Turks on TV for using your name?
No, neither of us made up the terms. But that club, the New York Friars Club, is still going strong, but the Beverly Hills Club was wound up and sold off basically after the old guard died. I used to hang out sitting in a chair across from Milton Berle, smoking cigars and him telling stories.
Holy shit.
And Steve Allen used to come in, and that whole generation.
I mean this with all due respect, but fuck you, dude.
That's what he used to say.
No, that's amazing. Like, it really is.
Oh, he used to. You can imagine Milton Berle and the dick jokes and the comments about you not smoking the cigar wrong, suck it like you're sucking, the other things. And so he would be in there. Adam Sandler was in the club a lot in those days, and a few other guys, guys that you would know if you saw them and that kind of thing. And then there was the up and comers, and we just would have a great time. And the club had it was a gym facility and a spa and massage and all that kind of stuff on the premises. And it was after work every day. Go have a drink, smoke a cigar, hang out, crack jokes, and that was my life. We had big parties and industry, that kind of stuff. Then you get married and everything goes to shit. No.
Is the Friars Club, is that name, the Friars Club, copyrighted?
It's a trademark. Yeah, it's registered.
Trademark. I guess that's what I should say. Yeah.
The New York Friars Club established it in, I want to say, the late 1800s or early 1900s. Yeah. And then when Jack Benny and some of those guys started coming out to LA to do the movie industry, they needed to create their club out there too. So they made a branch of it, and the two were only very loosely affiliated. It was under a license.
So if we wanted to do it in Knoxville, we'd have to call it the Friars Group.
Do it FRYERS and use chicken as the logo.
Yeah. There you go.
I was going to say the Friars. I was going to say the Friars Rub. That would go over just as well.
Isn't there a big poultry processing plant not far from Knoxville?
Tyson,
yeah.
You can get them to
My
sponsor
sister's
it.
husband worked at Tyson for a while.
Yeah.
There you go.
We should get Tyson to sponsor us.
Fucking chicken jokers.
Friars Club.
Yeah. Oh,
that's funny. That's such a weird, Tennessee is such a weird fucking place, man. It's so distinct between the three sections of Tennessee. It trips me out. Because you start here in East Tennessee, start getting up into the fucking weird ass mountain people. Especially when you get out towarst Johnson City. People that talk like this, live in mountains, are gonna fucking stick something in your butthole. And then you got,
Yins don't look like you from around here.
Right.
Yins. Let's say yins.
Yeah. And then man, Nashville's gotten stupid expensive. And then of course Memphis is like East Arkansas. Fucking, I hate Memphis so fucking much.
I hate Memphis too.
It's the worst.
And Atlanta.
Oh yeah. I don't mind Atlanta. I just don't like driving through Atlanta.
I'm coming to Nashville. I was planning on making a side trip to go to see Graceland the day before the conference. And
no. Okay, so Beale Street, Memphis, or on Beale Street, Graceland. There are some pieces of Memphis that are outstanding, but as a whole, Memphis just fucking sucks. But yeah, the things that are worth going to Memphis to see that you hear about are worth going to Memphis for.
Okay.
It's just not a place like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go spend like 4 days in Memphis. Like,
Right.
you'll be done with everything in 2.
See
I figure out
Graceland, eat some
afternoon there.
barbecue.
Yeah. See
Go
some
to
good,
Beale Street.
good blues.
Yeah.
Beale Street.
Yeah.
Tell me about Beale Street. What is Beale Street?
So Beale Street's the classic. It's kind of cliche now, but there used to be all like the big blues bars and
okay.
I've heard it called Bourbon Street of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Without quite as many alcoholics passing out.
Right. And you still have a lot of really good little like barbecue
Mhm.
spots, and there's some live music. Like I was randomly there and saw some great like random blues band in one of the clubs. So I mean, there's some great music there, great food, and Beale Street's just kind of what's become like the touristy area of Memphis, but there's still some great shit on that. It's a classic where like that's where BB King would just pop into different places and play shit back in the day. Like it's just a historical fucking little strip there. But
all right,
kind of like Broadway and Second. What's that?
I got Memphis and Nashville, and then you talk trash about Atlanta, where I'm going to be in October. So, where else should I go? You guys,
In Atlanta
it's the driving in Atlanta. That's what it
Oh.
boils down to. It's just the worst place to drive. And fucking Braves baseball. Fuck that. But yeah, but no, you want some chicken and waffles in Atlanta. Holy shit. Best chicken and waffles in the fucking world are in Atlanta, Georgia.
I think a little bit Memphis has got some pretty good chicken.
No, Memphis got some pretty good. Nothing like Atlanta. There's this one place
Yeah,
that's off the interstate, and it's called like Nana's or Mama's or some shit like that.
Have you ever had Roscoe's out of LA?
Yeah.
Atlanta better than that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just asking.
They made that shit.
I'm just asking. Jesus.
Yeah, Roscoe's is decent, but you know, it's transplanted soul food from the South.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, but hey, if so, you say you're gonna be here in 2 weeks in Nashville?
First week of August.
First week of August.
Okay.
All right. I'll say at some point, if you ever come back for any kind of other conference, you should come for an in-person, man. If you want to hang out in Joey's creepy ass basement.
You come during football season, I'll take you to a UT game. Yeah, there you go.
He's like, no, he's like, fuck that.
Are you a football fan?
You know what? I'm a showbiz guy. I don't have the sports gene. I'm
I'm
a straight fan, but I'd rather have a Broadway show than a football game, to be honest. That's just
okay.
I'm taking the wife. I'm taking Amanda and Eli to New York in September. They've never been.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out a show to take them to. Because they've gotten so fucking expensive now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Stupid expensive. Because I went and saw Lion King on Broadway, but this was like forever ago.
Yeah.
But I was like looking at tickets because I was like, I want to see the Book of Mormon. Haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's like $1,100 fucking dollars. I was like, Jesus Christ, no.
Yeah.
I will watch that shit on bootleg DVD.
Yeah.
There you go. You know what? Some of the best theater in New York is in the off-Broadway, the smaller theaters.
It really is. Yeah.
And definitely worth. You want to see a Broadway show, so you can say you've seen a Broadway show, but some of the better shows. So
yeah. Well, I don't think most people know the difference. Like you can go to any show that's Broadway or off Broadway and be like, yeah, I went to a live theater show in New York, and people will be like, oh, Broadway, but yep, totally Broadway, and they don't care.
Yep. Yeah.
But they're excited because they've never been. Like I've been a couple. Like New York's one of those places for me because I don't have a fuck ton of money. Like after like 2 or 3 days, I'm good. I'm ready to leave Manhattan, go do something else. But if I had a shit ton of like Mike was telling me the story the other day about the president of our company, and we're based out of New York. My main company's on Times Square actually, and so they had some clients over and they spent like 10 grand on dinner for like 8 people, and I'm like, holy fuck, I can't imagine that shit. It's awesome, but can't imagine it.
That's how when I had to go to Germany, they eventually cut us off because we were drinking too much.
Yeah. So he's like, we're not even talking to him anymore. We're just I'm sorry, Gordon. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. You want me to come back later or
give us about 5 minutes.
5. That's including cleanup, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So do you plan on doing anything in Nashville that's not related to Jack Daniels or the podcast convention?
I'll try to get in some of the tourist stuff. I want to see the Grand Ole Opry and the original auditorium, which I forgot the name of off the top of my head. The Ryman, yeah. And I've got a few friends around the Nashville area, so I'll try to connect up with people. But I'll be there for
other fancy lawyers.
A whole week.
Yeah.
Other
You'll
what?
be there for a whole week. Is that what you're saying?
Just at other fancy lawyers.
An ex-girlfriend and
yeah,
a songwriter that I know, and her brother who's a friend from another part of my life, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So
So I take it then that you're a paid speaker for this conference. You're not just coming in to chill for the day.
I am not a
Or
paid speaker.
a guest speaker, I should say.
I'm an invited speaker, and yeah, I'm footing my own bill for the travel and hotel, but
Okay.
there's plenty of perks, so it's worth it, and it's great for business because it's where my people are.
So do any of the big podcast names or networks show up for this?
No.
Oh yeah.
He's shaking his head. Yes.
This is the big one. Actually, the one of the big keynote speakers is Jeff Bezos. From Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And they're getting into podcasts in a big way. They just paid $80 million for what's it called?
I saw that. I can't think of what it's called, but I saw that.
It's the one with the three comics, Jason Bateman and Will Arnett, and
yeah,
I
can't think of what it's called, but yeah, they paid $80 million for that one. Yeah.
$80 million for a 3-year deal for those guys, and then meanwhile, I've got clients calling me saying they want to give me half the profits. What profits?
Right.
So
yeah, it's funny. That's the reason I laughed at that and said no, because it's funny. A lot of music conferences, there's so many that pop up, like these independent music conferences. And granted, a big part of them is networking and shit like that. But one of the big advertised ones that pop up is the CD Baby Music Conference. It's usually in Nashville, whatever. And it's what you make of it. They have some great speakers, but for the most part, of course, I don't like people, so it takes away from a lot of. I don't get the networking aspect of it for myself, but I've just always found like going in and unbiasedly watching, and like you're gonna get a handful of people there that are like gonna strike fucking gold, and it's gonna be awesome. But like 98% of the people that go, nah, just it's good to get out of the house a little bit.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah. But I've got a lot of good friends. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you the same question in two different ways, and so. Why does a podcast like ours or whatever, why do we need to go to that conference?
Connect with other podcasters, other podcast industry players. Maybe there's some crosstalk between your audience and other audiences. Maybe you can attract a bigger audience that way. You can talk to potential sponsors. And frankly, it's just a lot of fun hanging out, networking with other podcasters and folks in the industry, and there are good education panels. I mean, I'm speaking on a panel about music, and got another couple of panels, and you learn something every day. I mean, and you get away from town.
Well, from your perspective as a speaker, I would imagine, do you get, other than like being there and being able to impart knowledge, but I would assume though, to a degree, having young podcasts come up and speak with you that are hopeful or whatever the case may be, but just to, I don't know, like I would imagine from your side of things, it's probably enjoyable as well, just for some of those interactions. Somebody that says, hey, I've heard you do this and this helped me in this way. Like some of those affirmations, which is a type of feedback for what you do, I would imagine is pretty rewarding. I know that sounds selfish as fuck, but that's how I would be.
No, for me, it really does give me a sense of fulfillment. My purpose, my mission is to help as many content creators get their message out and do it safely in a way that allows them to feel confident about taking some of the kinds of risks that it take. You have to take risks in order to succeed with things. And so many people are out there just flying by the seat of their pants and not knowing what's coming around the next corner and worried about it a little bit. At least the smart ones are worried about it. And so I like to be able to help them. You guys are like, I never had to worry about that.
He just described half of our podcast.
I feel like that he's just casually been attacking us this entire time.
Well, no, he described both of us.
Hey, you fuckers, come
on. He described both of us until he said worried about what comes around next. Then he only described half of us.
Yes, that was you.
I think.
No, honestly, for us, a lot of this is just as much as we talk shit about it, like I enjoy doing it for the most part. There are nights that I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
But as a whole.
Yeah. Well, it started out as just an excuse to hang out and let's just record the conversations we have. Slowly figured out we like talking to other people too.
Yeah. Because people don't realize, and because one of the big things I've heard more than anything is like, fuck, you guys cuss so much. It's almost like you're trying. Yeah. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like when we talk outside, this is how the fuck I talk. I cuss so much.
Wall Street in here.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I was, I can blame it on 1,000 things. The bottom line is I just have a horrible fucking mouth.
Sure,
But
absolutely.
but
I like it.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, well, a lot of people have said that to us.
As long as the filter works when you need it to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Well, like it's funny enough. Like I really don't curse around my kids, like hardly at all. Like one will slip every now and then. I don't cuss around my kids. I don't cuss around my family back home, other than my dad, because he doesn't give a shit anymore. But yeah, so the filter's there. But so when we talk, it's just
So this is your platform. You can do it your fucking way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So same question I asked just a minute ago, but slightly differently. Why does someone like us not need to go to that conference?
That's not the same question. Those are two different questions.
Whatever.
Why do you not need to go to this conference?
Yeah.
Because
Why would
you have nothing to learn and you don't give a shit.
Okay, there you go.
I check off 2 of those.
Can't learn and not having anything.
I like asking that question. I bought something the other day, and there's one feature that I couldn't decide if I wanted it or not. And I said, "Tell me why I need that feature." And they told me whatever. I said, "Now tell me why I don't need it."
You're that asshole when you buy shit.
It depends on if it's a high dollar item. Depends on if it's a high dollar item.
Is this a salesperson you're talking, or just like somebody that works there?
It's the person. It's same in this particular company. It's the same.
Okay.
This particular company is the same. But no, if it's a high dollar item, I do it. If I'm spending $50 on something, I don't do that.
I don't understand that. Like, if I want something, I want something. Like, I'm not gonna.
I was on the fence about it.
If somebody, I'm not trusting somebody selling me something.
Trust me,
I'm gonna do my own research. If I want it, I want it.
All right. The money that I saved by not buying that feature, they made more of because I bought a different feature. Because I saved that money, and so I spent it on something else.
Did you ask them their opinion on that one too?
No, because I have experience with that other feature.
Jesus Christ.
I had that already.
Why are we friends?
So
why the fuck are we
for, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Because you need somewhere to hang out and drink on a Saturday night. That's why we're friends.
That's actually kind of sad that you guys do this on Saturday nights because nobody else.
We work during the week, and it's just like, good luck.
You don't have to explain it. He's just being an asshole.
No.
Like,
I'm here on Saturday night too.
Yeah, but it's still early for you. I mean, for us, it's 9:30. For you, it's 6:30. Used to.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
weirdly enough, we're doing a back-to-back episode tonight. We're gonna do another one after this one, just because we're both out of town next weekend.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We started out doing it. We started out recording 2 episodes back to back.
Well, I traveled 100 like all the
taking off every other week, but I don't know, I'd say 4 months or 5 months in, we just started actually recording every Saturday and releasing that episode on Monday. So it was a quick turnaround for us to get it, record it and get it out on Monday. But we started doing that and I liked that more. But during the summertime, it gets a little harder. So
now I'm going to interrupt ourselves just a little bit to give him an out. I know you originally said you didn't have the full time. Do you need to go? We don't want to keep you on here.
Oh, no, I'm good. We can hang.
That was your last fucking chance, man. I'm trying to help you out here.
If I'm boring you guys, we can call it a night.
No, absolutely not.
No, he's fucking boring me. He has been for the last goddamned hour. You're good, man. Hey, you want to start a podcast?
With you?
Great answer. Was it pay a shitty friendship?
A shitty friendship with strong fucking arms.
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
So
good.
Tell me about your audience. What do we know about them that you're willing to share?
So we have weirdly enough, about a 36 to 40% female demographic.
Last I looked, which was this week, it was about 62% male.
Okay, so it's
about 62% male and about 37% female and just under 1% not specified.
And we have, I think our largest age demographic is between, I think, was it like 28 and
28 to 44.
28 to 44.
Something like that.
I can't believe like 40% of listeners are women. That fucking blows my mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen to us. And then oddly enough,
half of them,
and this is like
half of them are saying to their husbands, why can't you be more like those guys? Because their husbands are saying, you think you got it bad?
So
there you go. Yeah.
Weirdly enough, and as far as I think those are the most of what we know about our demographics, but some of our and I'm trying to word this not like a douche, but we're like some of the best relationships and conversations that we had and guests that we've had come back on and we've been on their podcast have been minorities. We have the best conversations and we really enjoy it. It's been
Nice.
really strange to me, like how well that's been a good fit for us.
Right.
And that cross promotion, which is because we've had some of the best conversations on race and all that stuff that I've ever fucking had have been on this show, which has been fantastic. Because I'm the type, I really like to ask inappropriate questions if you're willing to have the conversation and allow me to ask the questions. Because that's the only way, in my opinion, that we're going to learn about shit. If I can ask you about the things that are uncomfortable as an ignorant person, then I'm going to become less ignorant, right? If we're willing to have that conversation.
Well, it's like the two guys from Juxtaposition Podcast, or Juxtaposition Debate, sorry. They're both in the UK, and they're just two black guys who are, I don't know, within 10 years of our age. They're older than us, but within 10 years.
Oh man, that last week, holy shit.
Yeah, and so, but like one of the things we talked to them about was like, what is the black experience like in the UK, especially compared to the US? Like, what is that like? What are the differences? Do you think it's better over there or over here or whatever? And like, you get some great information when you ask people those kinds of questions that, I mean, especially in the South, a lot of people like just don't broach these topics because it's like makes them uncomfortable. So,
or they're afraid it'll make the guest uncomfortable or whatever.
That
but
too.
You know, the truth is, that's an open-mindedness, a kind of frankly intelligence, and you know, you do that, and you hopefully you bring along a few of your audience each time and expand some minds. That's great,
right? And that's something as much as like, I mean, I talk out my ass and I could run my mouth and shit. Like something we're genuinely interested in is having those kind of conversations. Like I really enjoy them because like people that are willing to talk about shit that is uncomfortable, like I really appreciate because
those conversations are conversations I would have if the mics were turned off. Like I just like that kind of conversation. So
and it doesn't have to be race, but among anything.
Well, we talked about gun laws with two guys from the UK and one guy from Australia, and the differences in gun laws,
especially in the South.
And you know, and the fact that I told them, like, I said, in less than 60 seconds I could bring a gun and have it right here so you could see it on camera. And he's like, the guy from Australia is like, I'm stressed out just thinking about that. And I like hearing those, not that I like hearing someone stressed out, but I like hearing the kind of differences in experiences in the way people live their day-to-day life.
Bagged on us for a good 20 minutes over there. Which is fantastic. But it's just, to me, it's interesting to have those conversations. If you can have people, and this is across the board, but because usually the loudest people are the people on the extremes, right? Most everybody else is somewhere in that span of whatever. And so when you have people on either side that are actually willing to have those conversations without being like overly offended by questions, because like I always, you know, the stupid cliche is you don't know what you don't know. And until you have somebody that's willing to answer stupid questions, you're never going to learn anything. So I think it's really valuable when you have sides, lack of a better word, of a conversation of people that are willing to talk about those quote unquote stupid questions.
Well, at the risk of tooting our own horn, I think you and I are both willing to give our opinion on something and then be wrong.
Absolutely.
And accept that we're wrong on something. If someone contradicts what we have and can back it up or whatever, I'm absolutely willing to have my mind changed on something. So
that is rare, frankly,
especially in the South.
Well, but as hosts, that's the job. Go ahead and change my minds, and along with me, some of my listeners. And
so we're basically Steven Crowder. Change our mind.
You shut the fuck up, you asshole.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know, because I'm in one of the things that's different about this is I'm very apolitical. I'm very like, I don't care about, like, as stupid as it is. So my brain wiring's a little different for a few different things. And so I don't have a lot of emotional attachments or viewpoints that lean one way or the other. Like I really don't have too much of a thought about a lot of stuff. Like I have opinions, but not beliefs really. And so like, I really enjoy hearing those variances, and it's just super interesting to me how some people get so passionate about certain things that I don't even understand. And so like, I really enjoy, and that's something I've had to do for most of my life. Like, you know that about me well enough. That, like there's been a lot of chameleon and learning about and observing people and how they do. And so it's always beneficial to me to hear those other
Yeah.
points, and we've just
Say
talked for 10 minutes and he hasn't said a fucking
the
word.
day you stop
Sorry.
learning, the day you
Yeah.
stop learning is the day your life starts to end. You know,
Yeah.
so
Right. And I've been praying for that day for 20 fucking years now, and it still hasn't happened.
You don't have
and
enough
you're a
faith.
youngster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had a death wish for like a good 20 years, so it's fine.
And you were in the service. Did you jump out of planes in the service?
I was in the Coast Guard, so a lot of people will say I was in the service, you know. I don't like Jesus Christ.
What do the Navy guys call the Coast Guard?
I was medically discharged. For,
Okay.
I got a sweet bipolar diagnosis with
It's called chlamydia.
got that, and then more recently it's gotten kind of, there's been some other things tagged
Sure.
on. Antisocial personality disorder, as they would say, emotional detachment from the real world.
So I was trying to pull up the information.
Little sociopath action,
I was trying to pull up the information about our audience, just generic, the shorthand of it. Like, so we post through Anchor, and so I was just going to pull up just the generic information they give us. So 90% of our audience is from the US, of course, 2% UK, 2% Italy, and it dwindles from there. 60% of our audience listens through Apple Podcast, 24% through other venues, and then 11% is Spotify. 38% is 35 to 24, and 29% is 28 to 34. And then it's 59% male, 34% female, 4% not specified. And then actually, at least a handful of people call themselves non-binary. So,
oh shit,
yeah,
we're fucking woke as shit.
Woke as shit.
So I would imagine though, like your demographic.
Have they not looked?
No, I would have to imagine though, your demographic is pretty wide, right? Because it's going to be in people that are starting up, but you have a more of a, like, I think one of the things that hurts us a lot is we're not very niche. Like we just kind of like, it's a shotgun blast.
Oh yeah.
There's
10 million other podcasts like ours.
But like, to me, especially what you do with your expertise is it's something that not a lot of other industries offer for the people in said industries, right? Like you're like a one-stop resource to a degree for podcasts, and that shit doesn't exist in other platforms. So I would imagine that's a pretty great place to be. Does that make, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's interesting because I don't podcast about podcast law, although I entertained the idea of turning my live streams that I do on Facebook as a podcast as well. My podcast is called Entertainment Law Update, and it is a very, very niche audience. I mean, there's maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people in the world who do entertainment law or care enough about it in the first place that they would listen to a podcast where we talk about the cases that the courts are deciding.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's me and another lawyer, and we discuss the points of law and the issues and our opinions, and did the court get it right or did they get it wrong, or what about this, those kinds of things. And we've got a couple of thousand downloads per episode, so we've got roughly half of the whole potential audience listening to our show, but it's never going to be bigger than
the Lawcast.
Actually, there was a thing called Lawcast, which was a continuing education program for lawyers where they sent you a CD every month, and you back in the old days. And that was sort of what inspired me to create the show, is to do it as a way of educating other lawyers. Stupid strategically, because I'm educating my competition and not reaching out to my potential one.
Blah, 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 blah.
You say that, but really, like, any time that you can establish yourself as a center of resource or knowledge, and people come to you for that, I mean, that's really a great place to be. Really, it's kind of like in a company, like if you establish your own job description and you make yourself like invaluable, then you're fucking invaluable. You know what I mean? Like, because only you do what you do.
Yeah, and it honestly, it makes me a better lawyer because I'm watching all those cases every month, and it's very easy to sit back and just do what you know and not pay attention to what else is going on out there. And so, my meetings we've got a production team of law students and young lawyers who help us find the stories and analyze them and that kind of thing. And those meetings are always informative ones. So.
It's honestly, it's the law side of shit's interesting as fuck to me. Like the short amount of time that I spend in school, like on the music side of things, like I took a couple of like publishing classes, and they covered, some copyright law and some things like that, and it's so multifaceted. Like to be a lawyer in that industry, like you have to know a lot of inroads and outroads for that shit, because there's a lot of tricky language and a lot of topics, especially in the digital age, that start fucking overlapping each other, and even some kind of unknown areas that are being worked out as things progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not really an industry I would imagine you can see on your laurels, so to speak. Like you have to be kind of up on the game.
Well, we have to know what's going on in the segment of the industry we work most of the time in. For me, that's
Right.
digital media and live theater. The film industry is also part of me. I don't do much in the music arena except when it relates to those other parts of it. I used to do record deals. I used to do publishing deals, and yeah, it was just a lot to keep up with. And frankly, some of my clients were not so savory types. So
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things I learned quickly that blew my mind is the money's not in fucking being a rock star. The goddamn money's being a writer and actually fucking like getting publishing deals. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like
so
Taylor Swift's team, fuck them. Katy Perry's team, fuck them.
Yeah.
They have so much fucking money.
Yeah. So you said something that stood out, and I hadn't thought about to ask you about this. You said live theater law. What about that? I mean, that live what do you deal with live theater law? Like,
Okay.
what do you deal with? What's the number one thing, I guess?
Well, I represent a lot of playwrights who are working to try to get their shows developed and produced or headed to Broadway or off Broadway, that kind of thing. And I work with a lot of producers who are looking to take shows that they've found or that they've created and get those to the off Broadway, whatever developmental theater level we're doing. And that starts with, obviously you got to deal with the rights and make sure you own what you need in order to put up the production that you want to make. And then you have to go raise the money. And the structures that you use to raise $1 million, $2 million, $20 million for a highly risky, I mean, we're going to spend $20 million. We're going to build this thing and it could close on the first night. If nobody likes it, nobody's coming to see it. And yeah, so risky money and then all the deals, I'm a contract negotiator in a lot of ways. That's the kind of stuff I do. Form the company, do the offering materials, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Interesting.
I guess I've never thought about entertainment law impacting live theater.
Really?
I've never really thought about that.
In one fucking package to me, because you have to have that shit.
Sure, I get it. I guess I don't think about live theater
because I feel like in any entertainment industry, more than I would say even more than most others, like there are some slimy motherfuckers that are just looking to take advantage.
Oh, yeah,
more
sure.
so
patent trolls. Yeah, things like that.
fuck you. But I just feel like
there's copyright trolls too. They're called movie producers. But
exactly. No, I just feel like that any time that you have an industry where people are really up and coming and it's a creative endeavor, you always have people that are taking advantage, and you always have to have contracts to protect those people in law.
Yeah. And creative folks are really not good at looking out for their own best interests.
No.
So
I like to think that that's what tanked one of the many things that tanked my fucking short-lived music time was my really shitty ability to do anything.
You had a lot of record producers that stole your shit and did you wrong.
No, okay. Just the business sense and to have savvy enough interest to not do shit.
Yeah, that and a lack of talent will do it every time. Oh,
man,
I have no frame of reference. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Good.
I'm sorry, I burn you like that. No,
he's earning guest of the year ballots right now. Like he's really, he's earning it.
Fucking hurt my taint, man.
Yeah.
Was there a little clenchage going on there when I said that?
I know I was good. I just was not good at not doing drugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of music did you do? What's your instrument? What was the band like? Tell me.
It was
skin flute.
Well,
I could play 12 octaves.
Well,
no, I was primarily I did the solo acoustic thing for a long time. I had a backing band for a while. I was in Hawaii. Well, I was in the military. I moved every little bit, and some of the time was in Alaska, so that doesn't really fucking count. And I played full time.
Right?
Yes, the Coast Guard.
Yes, the Coast
Sorry,
Guard.
I'll be honest.
I quit. Fuck this.
Well, you made it 100
No,
episodes.
like it was one of those things. Like I did well. Like I and
No.
I played well, and I never really could break out of the whole regional thing. I just was never good enough to keep my shit together long enough to do it.
Mm,
And honestly, it worked out because it wasn't healthy for me at all. Like
No.
I still love it,
Yeah.
but it's just not a healthy life for my. In
It
the
could
place
be
I'm in
me-
now,
it could be
better.
now that you're medicated, but
Yeah, now that I'm medicated and shit.
I
but-
don't like complimenting him, but he's a good songwriter. He's a great entertainer.
Yeah.
He really is.
But it just timing wise and where I was in my life, like you can blame it on 1,000 things, but the point of it is like there are too many things I was not good at to be successful.
Mhm.
And to me, I don't feel like it was a lack of talent as much. It was just a lack of knowledge, a lack of motivation, a lack of 1,000 things like that you have to have other than just the ability to play well. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Well, and that
You're just not willing to play the game.
Yeah.
Weren't anyway.
Yeah, to a point.
Sure.
But that
well,
comes
and as
from
you said, drugs and alcohol and having
Yeah.
issues that you were self-medicating, right?
Right. Yeah.
And different. Yeah, you gotta be in control in order
Yeah.
to make it in any field.
Right.
And
and doing it on my own on top of that and not having that, so it was a combination of things, and I'm very self-isolating, and I had a quote unquote manager for a little while, and he just fucking tanked that shit and fucked me over a couple of times. So it was multiple things, but ultimately it was because I wasn't capable of handling all the things that you have to be able to handle
Mhm.
to be successful in a particular industry. That's what it comes down to.
Well, and a lot of that
Right.
handling is stuff you have to do in your off hours when you
Right.
have a regular job while you're trying to make, or in the
Right.
military.
Yeah.
There just aren't enough hours in the day to do it all for a lot of people.
Right. And well, even after I got out, it was the same thing. I wasn't going to invest the time that I had into the things that needed to be done. I was going to do what I had to do and then go play, and then I could show up, and I can still to this day. I've started playing out at some open mics just for fun. Like I've played a couple just to get out and kind of dust the
that's good.
cobwebs off, and I can still fucking quiet a room. Like it felt
Sure.
good to get out and do it again, but it's still not like, I don't know. I'm at the point now where it doesn't mean as much. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And as it used to, and it's just nice to get out and play. Like I'm gonna be that fucking dude that's 80 years old, and people are like, "Why the fuck is he here?" And I'm like, "God damn it, because I want to
Because he's
be."
an artist. That's what art
What's
is.
that?
You do it because you
Yeah.
love doing it. You make it because you need to make it, not because anybody else cares or is willing to pay for it. You're
Right.
lucky if they do.
He's like, well, I have a very, very, like, honestly, because I'm on my third marriage, because that's the boxes you have to check.
Oh, of
And
course.
but my wife now, I mean, we've been married for like fucking, it'll be 9 years this coming.
I thought you
February.
guys had hit 10 already.
No, not yet. But still, it's more than my first two combined. But like she's legitimately understanding and knows me, and is very
Yeah.
supportive and helps me stay medicated. And like I would still be super fucked up if she wasn't, in the picture. But
Sure.
so I'm very fortunate for that. Like she was with me through a hunk of the excessive fucking Oxycontin and alcohol use
Sure.
and other things. But
Why didn't I get any of that time on a podcast? That's what I
well,
want.
it would have been a train wreck, which
It would have been entertaining.
Yeah. Anyway, so long story short, a big part of where I am now, like having a decent job and doing all this shit, is because of
Sure.
Amanda. But
Mhm.
anyway, so Gordon, I thought he was going to fall asleep there for a second.
Came on your show
I
and
felt-
started interviewing you. It's
Yeah.
No, I just like talking about myself. So that's, what it comes down to.
you gotta
All
like
right.
this
So I do.
voice.
I have. So I got an entertainment question for you. If you were going to go pitch something to whatever, whether it's a TV project or whatever, you're going to go pitch something. What should you do ahead of time to protect yourself?
That is a great question.
Thank you very
It
much.
sort of depends what it is, but generally speaking, if you've got copyrightable material, you register the copyright. If you're pitching ideas or whatever, you want to document the fact that the meeting is happening, and sort of make a paper trail if possible. Get the promise from the people you're pitching to in some form that you can prove that they said, yes, we'll pay you if we use it, or yes, we'll hire you if we because ideas are not something that can really be protected. If
Right.
you spit out an idea at a party, you shouldn't be surprised when the person who overheard it turns it into the next
Right.
blockbuster film.
Yeah.
So you need that sort of implied or expressed promise from the recipient that, yeah, I understand why we're both here. Hollywood's pretty good at avoiding giving that implied promise.
How do you do that? I mean, if you have an idea for, let's just say a TV show.
Yeah.
Let's say you have an idea for a TV show and you're going to pitch that. Like, how do you do that? How do you document that? Just saving emails and text messages, or what do you do?
You know, if you go in through an agent or an attorney or manager, they're usually doing some of the legwork of setting it up and making sure there is that email chain that says, hey, he's coming in, he wants to pitch you this material with an eye towards selling it to you, and you agree to treat it confidentially until you make a deal, something like that. We use the words in confidence. Yeah. He's writing this down. Uh-oh.
He is.
Well, I make notes.
He makes show notes because I
make show notes because I do the description.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I'm telling you, I need to get Jessica on board, and when I fucking get my fucking idea worked out for the best documentary that man has ever seen, it's fucking locked in, bitch.
Why get Jessica? She doesn't do entertainment law.
I don't care. She's the only lawyer I know that will work for free, at least for a short period of time.
No, she would not. No, she would not. What was it? My son asked about
for Gabe. She would for Gabe.
No, that's what I'm fixing to tell you.
Really?
My oldest son's 25 and he's dealing with an issue with his home warranty company. And he was talking to her and he said here, and he laid, I can't remember if it was a $5 bill or a $1 bill down. And he was trying to make the joke that came from Breaking Bad or whatever, where Saul Goodman says, he was like, give me $1 and now I can't. Right. And he just lays $5 down and we're at her house or something. And he says, now, okay, what should I do here? And she picked it up. She goes, well, this will get you about 2.5 minutes or whatever. It wasn't that much. She's like, this will get you, and this is the family discount, but you get 2 minutes of my time now. And she lays it back down. No, she's absolutely not going to do that.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, this wouldn't buy my business card, that kind of
right. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes. So, I'll say this, just off topic slightly, but I'm very proud of what my sister's accomplished. She's worked for big corporations and small companies, and I'm very proud of what she's accomplished. So there you go.
Aw,
here to go.
Fucking.
Currently, she's bought my father's business that she's going to take control of. So, I mean, there goes my inheritance and legacy. But whatever.
Fucking legacy. Yeah, but in all fairness, your sister's also a fucking spoiled ass Napa Valley vacation taking the kids. Ugh.
I wouldn't call her spoiled, but no,
she spoiled herself. It's a treat yourself.
Yeah. She treats herself.
Fuck her for that shit.
She does take her kids, but she takes a babysitter so they don't have to go.
Okay, that's still Jesus Christ.
So, it is what it is. If I had that kind of money, I'd do shit like that too.
You know what I learned really quick, Gordon, about anybody that's from LA. Like if I'm trying to identify or speak with on any like mutual terms, like, oh yeah, I was born in California. They'll be like, oh yeah, where? I'll be like, San Bernardino. They're like, yeah, fuck you. That's immediately the result. Like, oh, you're one of those subhuman fucking desert people.
Yeah, Inland Empire, we call that area. It's like
Inland Empire. There you go.
All right, yeah, it's an empire.
Yeah.
I was actually out in San Bernardino County last weekend. We went to a friend's lake house up in the mountains for a visit. It was lovely. So
yeah, I was actually Apple Valley is where I was born, and my dad worked at. They have all the big solar fields out there, like some of the aerospace companies back in the day did. And he worked out there, but
a lot of meth labs too out there.
A lot of meth labs. That's probably what he actually did. I'm really not sure.
I'm pretty sure that
area was a documentary.
That's what I say. Breaking Bad actually was supposed to be filmed there, but California wouldn't give them any breaks on like taxes or anything, so they went to ABQ.
Surprised it wasn't filmed in Georgia.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Oh God. All right. So we're approaching 2 hours, and so I was gonna.
I want to say something. I want to interrupt, and I'm gonna be completely transparent. Like when he first told me he had an entertainment lawyer on, he talked to him on Facebook. I was like, oh fucking shit, this is gonna be the worst goddamned episode that we've ever had. But this has legitimately been a really good time. I'm very glad you've been able to live up to
it. No, it's great. It's great.
No, at first, but occasionally, like I'll shoot him an email and be like, hey, I have this guest coming on, and he's just like, what the fuck? Are you serious? And there's been a couple of times that we've both fell a little short of expectations, but I wanted to give you props and you props, good sir. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. Now we need to do an entertainment law segment with Gordon every once in a while.
I'm good.
Oh
Before we let you go, do you got anything you want to plug?
Follow me on social media. That would be my big thing. If you're a podcaster or you're interested in podcasting, follow the Podcast Lawyer. It's actually facebook.com/podcastlaw, and join that group. legitpodcastpro.com will get you all the information you need about that. That'd be great.
What's your book? Now you said you had a book. I want to know, because I might actually purchase it so we can learn some shit.
It's an ebook, not a public. Well, you can get a hard copy from print on demand kind of thing through Amazon.
I'm already a hard copy, so go ahead.
Okay. It's called The Podcast Blog and New Media Producers Legal Survival Guide. You can find it at podcastlawbook.com.
Well, that title is way too long for me to write down, so I'll get it off the recording.
Podcastlawbook.com. That's all you need to know.
Podcastlawbook.com. Okay.
I like his disgust, like, you can't remember podcastlawbook.com, you stupid piece of shit.
I got it.
I'm trying to redirect because he's made fun of me for being at the Coast Guard the entire fucking night. So, I'm just bitter at this point in time.
Honoring the truth behind the.
There you go.
Yeah. I got
shooting coasties in the pond.
Yeah, no, I tell you, it works out though. I got pulled over on the way over here tonight because I was running late. And 4th of July weekend, I had a little veteran stamp on my driver's license, and the guy was like, "Well, you're a veteran." He was like, "Well, it's 4th of July weekend. Just slow down and thank you for your service." I was like, "Thank you, sir."
That wouldn't have worked in LA, but in the South, it works every time.
No, because I'm not one that throws out the veteran shit much, because again, I was in the Coast Guard.
Put it on your license.
No, but that's what I was saying. But I got it on my license, and I got the fucking
tag,
the tag for my car, simply because it will get me out of almost any ticket in the South, because everybody, they're super, support your troops type of shit down here. And no, Virginia, they'll say fuck you. They hate the military. I love Virginia, but in Tennessee, Alabama, I rarely, if ever, get pulled over, and when I do, it's usually just a slow down, have a good day. So it's a purely selfish motivation for throwing that tag on there.
Well, you earned it in a way, and then you went bonkers and got thrown out. But
I think that's the legal term, bonkers.
Bonkers, yeah,
sure,
absolutely.
Batshit crazy.
Yeah, I'll say, but that pays my mortgage, so whatever.
There you go.
Yeah. I like you a lot. Thank you so much.
It's having a fun time. Really. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's been fun.
Yeah, no problem. So hang tight for just a moment, and we'll close this out, and then just talk for just a moment. So,
well, if you're still here some fucking how, thanks for listening.
Yeah, we don't know what next week's episode is going to be because we've had some stuff come up, but
people are fucking.
It'll just be the two of us. It'll just be the two of us.
It'll be a good time.
Yeah, but soon we do have a contestant from American Idol coming on. And then I've been talking with a true crime podcaster about having her on, because women love true crime, and that's 40% of our audience. So, yeah. So anyway, until next week.
Yep.
Bye. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast, and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.